Hi and welcome to this lecture. This is about preparing and planning your own lecture. I'm Nicole Georgogianni and I will guide you through this lecture. Let's say that you are already convinced that sharing knowledge is the key aspect for achieving higher performance and recognition. Now, do you have something to share? During this lecture, we guide you to share your knowledge, experiences, and business success by preparing and planning your own lecture. There are 6 main steps to consider when planning your lecture. First of all, you need to define the purpose of your lecture and decide who your audience is. The more you know about your audience, the better you will share the results of your work with others. The specific needs of your participants will influence the development of the content and guide you to define the aims and learning objectives of your lecture. Once you have decided on your goals and objectives, you need to find a way to achieve them. The pathway to get there will be through the content. Develop a clear and complete learning scenario, including activities, directions, time frames, materials and resources. To check that the participants have achieved what they wanted to achieve and see how you can improve the delivery for next time, prepare an evaluation method and participant evaluation forms. Finally, plan follow-up activities for the event. Without follow-up, the benefits of your knowledge-sharing event may quickly be forgotten or never used. Now let's have a closer look on those steps. The first step to designing your lecture is to become clear about what your knowledge-sharing event needs to accomplish. You need to consider the following questions before planning your lecture. Who is your target audience? Think about your target audience characteristics, their personal history, their preferred learning style, their business, personal life, and motivation to learn. Your target audience brings many personal experience to the sharing situation. Be certain to facilitate this sharing rather than just be the expert or offer a lecture. Then think of what do members of this audience presently do in their roles? What gaps exist between what this audience knows how to do and what they need to know to carry out their roles successfully? Finally, think how will your lecture help fill this gap? Take time to really consider these questions as it will provide you with a definition of the audience's specific needs and the desired outcomes of your sharing event. At the previous step, you have identified your target audience and the general theme of a subject you want to share. The next step is to outline possible contents for your lecture. For doing this task, you could use different thinking methods, such as mind mapping. Mind mapping is a method to explore your own thoughts, bring out information, structure and organize your ideas. You could also consider brainstorming or the must, should, could method that will help you to choose the most relevant contents. Always keep in mind to review your audience characteristics and focus on the learning objectives of your lecture. After assessing the needs and expectations of the participants, you are ready to define the aims and objectives of your sharing event. Clearly defined aims and objectives will help you to clarify the expected outcomes, outline the content, plan specific activities, select or develop the materials, design the evaluation procedure, and finally communicate the purpose of the sharing event to the participants. One of the things that is important when setting learning objectives is to make sure that they are SMART. SMART is the acronym for the 5 steps of specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time-bound learning objectives. Specific means that the learning objective describes the knowledge, attitudes or skills that the participant should be able to demonstrate by the end of your knowledge-sharing activity. Measurable means that achievement of learning objectives can be measured by test items, observation, problem-solving exercises, or any other evaluation method. Achievable means that objectives can be accomplished in the proposed time frame and with the available resources and support. Finally, set realistic objectives that can be obtained during a specific time frame. Use SMART as a checklist to help ensure that you have considered each of these items in formulating the learning objectives of your lecture. The next step in planning your lecture is to define your learning scenario. A scenario is a story about people and their activities. Learning scenarios are mainly used as case studies of effective practice. Before structuring your learning scenario, always keep in mind to find out who your participants are, what are their needs and interests, what motivates them and what are their expectations. Consider also that your participants have their own professional and personal experience. Use it to enrich your lecture. Finally, keep in mind that the learning scenario suggests problems, cases and real-life situations, so don't be afraid to use practical approaches and techniques when developing your learning scenario. While you are in the planning stages, it is the right time to start thinking also about how you will evaluate your knowledge-sharing event. You have to consider 3 main issues. First of all, you have to think about the purpose of the evaluation, then define what you should evaluate, and finally identify ways, methods and tools of evaluating the success of your sharing event. It is time to determine how the participants' learning will be evaluated. It may seem that tests and evaluation should be developed at the end of the process, but remember, the purpose of the evaluation is to promote learning. The evaluation must first test the participants' ability to accomplish the learning objectives of your lecture and should provide you feedback on how you could deliver your lecture better next time. The last step in planning your lecture is to identify follow-up activities. Follow-up activities provide the continued support and feedback which are necessary for the successful implementation of your lecture. To be effective, follow-up activities should be planned as you develop your lecture and should include a range of opportunities for the participants to reflect on both the content of what they have learned during the sharing situation and the process of implementation. Follow-up strategies include newsletters and web postings, peer observation, online communication between the participants and yourselves via email or phone. In this lecture you have acquired knowledge of the 6 main steps to follow for preparing and planning your own lecture. So first, identify the main subject that you want to share, define the purpose of your lecture and your target audience. Based on your participants' needs, identify your learning objectives and develop the content and learning scenario. Prepare your evaluation method and tools, and finally determine follow-up activities for your knowledge sharing event. We wish you good luck when preparing your first lecture.